I really want to actually tackle this type of prejudice, which is just trying to simply push me into the prejudice old as it tales like political bias. Excuse me, I can actually easily beat you in whatever category. This is not really a defamation because I'm going to test myself. This is a real, genuine CNN International and CNN US live. I have no leverage to control the content material, and I have no preconceived understanding that might actually build up on a schematic knowledge about the situation, because this is a groundbreaking and a breaking news that are just actually happening on the ground. I have no understanding, and I'm not going to actually claim that I'm really the only exclusive one. Excuse me, I'm not really that crazy. But the thing is, you suggested that simply being present on the soil of America, everyone would actually be better off than me. That's what you have suggested. Let me actually be tested. That's a really interesting argument. I really don't mind. A drug that has been touted and that very much, was supported by Donald Trump is indicated to have greater risks to actually, cause damage, especially undertaken by many patients of the coronavirus. Allegedly, there were more reported cases to at least, file a complaint against this type of reckless recommendation made by Donald Trump, since he was actually touting this type of drug for many days. And he says that he is still taking this starting from, 1.5 weeks. That means 1.5 week ago, he actually first encountered this drug, and ever since that, he takes a pill on a daily basis. Per day, he actually takes at least one pill. But the thing is, there are numerous cases, including 96,000 patients from all different 900 hospitals, including the VA hospitals for veterans. They already actually complained that this kind of a danger hidden underneath the drug exactly, recommended by President Donald Trump. Do I need to actually think twice about it? Excuse me. This is not really something that I'm faking. I don't really need to think twice about the things, and I'm more than happy to touch all different bases. I'm very happy to actually at least mention anything. This is not political bias. You're the one who would never grow out of the prejudice and bias. It's very easy. I'm actually happy to confront any type of radical agenda that's happening, and that's actually breaking out from the United States. Because, I'm more than happy to actually, at least carry responsibility for any words that I put down. Do you think that was really the calumny and the defamation, which actually assaulted other people of yours? Excuse me, I don't really need to be in this combative mode. Well, I just say, at least sick people are being sent away for an hour apart from their residences or hospitals for treatment. Sick people, those patients, are actually sent away and pushed away, at least, transported to be away from about an hour in order to have them in full control for the treatment, at least. For a treatment, they are actually physically transported and displaced for about an hour. That's what has been Victor Blackwell. Alabama's governor said the schools can actually, reopen once more in June. Starting from the month of June, 1 to January, February, March, April, May, June. Starting from June, at least what Alabama governor right now says, those schools in the state can open up again starting from June. I don't really need to think. I never actually thought about it.
We'll stay on top of as we mark.
As we mark. I don't really need to. As we mark. What am I missing? I don't really need to. This is really easy. Starting from the month of June. What if I missed it? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. I don't really need to think about it. September and October, November, and December. I don't really need to. Because, everything is really exactly the same. Janvier, février, mars, April, avril, et mai, juin, juillet, août, septembre, octobre, novembre, décembre. Januar, février, mars, avril, mai, Juni, Juli, August, September, Oktober, November, December. Alles ganz egal. I don't really need to think about it.
If they're under that number, but when it comes to things like masks, masks are not required. They are strongly suggested while you're in line or if you're close to other people. If you're on the beach and you don't want to wear one, you don't have to. And these are the kind of things that we're seeing. There's actually different rules all over New Jersey, but here in Point Pleasant, the rule is keep the beach as limited as possible, and then also urge people to wear masks. Now, this may not be the best day to see how this all works.
So this day may not be the best day to see how this work or how this is going to roll out. Probably today is not going to be the very best day to see how this plan truly eventually works out. Right? So, concerning the New Jersey, right now, the beaches are open, but the thing is, in the beach area, if you actually have, people under 100, you're definitely not allowed to actually carry masks. And wearing mask is not really an obligation, but it is highly recommended. Not mandated, but highly recommended means, there is a certain sense of urgency, but it is not really enforceable as a law. If there is no fines or penalties you need to pay, if you are even actually are being busted for not wearing, but it's highly recommended means not really, generally, but with a very serious urgency. It's definitely better for you to actually carry masks for yourself. But the thing is, in the beach area, while you're keeping social distancing and trying to span out, and especially having people under 100, then you're not really you're not actually, obliged to carry masks. And this is really kind of the things that you need to actually carry because, when New Jersey is in the mode to at least, open up beaches and trains to have, more of a people who might actually be interested in going to a beach, and those beachgoers probably are given a chance to enjoy fresh air once more, but there are regulations that should actually be followed. Yeah, this is really a one step closer to having a full life back on the track again. But the problem is, you need to, at least, keep people under 100. That's really kind of, the efficient hygienic control. So, if you're actually in a span out, trying not to actually get together in the vicinity, having, such as sport activities and these kind of, full-blown normalcy, as they're still forbidden. But make sure to actually span out. Maybe this is not really the best day to see, how this, eventually, effectually works out in the future. No. But the thing is, beaches are really the hard hit. Those strains in the beaches are especially heavily affected by the coronavirus. They were actually on their way to reopen as they're actually, getting closer to have, customers and clients and beachgoers and beach bummers coming back because there are literally, a movement to at least, put back to normalcy. This is really opening. They were actually no worry about possible new cases surging and emerging, but still they try to actually, embrace themselves for these type of new cases. Meanwhile, at least, opening or at least preparing themselves for openings. That's what has been mentioned here. I don't really need to. I'm really fast.
Rest stops are open in Virginia, but that can vary state to state. The CDC underscores wearing a mask and washing your hands when traveling. Here, crews are cleaning bathrooms every hour.
We want people to be reassured that they can come in here and they can have a place that is going to be clean for them.
Of course, an essential part of a road trip is a snack, and AAA says be mindful of the buttons that you press on a vending machine. Maybe use a card instead of cash.
Oh, okay. AAA says that, you should be very worried about using a vending machine. Do not actually insert coins or using a cash. It is highly recommended to use a credit card or plastic to purchase something. Because when you are on the road, because, many of our road trips are now back on the track again. But the thing is, one thing you need to definitely worry about when you are traveling is definitely getting some snacks, right? You could feel very hungry if you're traveling along the road using an Amtrak or even a Greyhound, right? But the thing is, when you're using a vending machine, you really need to have a pack of Skittles. Don't use, cash. You cannot insert coins. No quarters, s'il vous plaît, because you need to use, a credit card and a swipe plastic to minimize any type of contact. Because, if you're using, cashes. You need to at least get the change. Then this type of a constant interaction could expose yourself to the coronavirus. Don't use it. And the restrooms are getting opened once more. Some of these already opened the restrooms, bathrooms, public bathrooms and restrooms. They're at least, constantly being watched and sanitized and cleaned on an hourly basis. Per every hour, there must be, at least a thorough sanitization to keep, every stall in control. Think about it. The toilet seat, as well as, stalls. Toilet seats, stalls, and the toilets and the flushing pipes. Everything should be under control. In a lavabo, in the sinks, in the faucets, any type of, objects inside the public bathroom and the public restrooms that might be used by travelers on the road, especially if you were traveling across the nation, having a long distance trip. These type of terminals are watched with absolutely alerted surveillance. People are actually deploying more of a sanitary workers to at least disinfect every object that could possibly be touched by people. And of course, we can never actually miss, what's next. Because the beauty of traveling is getting a little thingy to please your mouth, right? So, if you are really hungry, you need to actually grab something for eat. Do not use, cash to actually get the change. Because of this kind of activity, would it be the number one reason why we can have a virus propagating, right? That's really the reason AAA says it is highly recommended to use a plastic to swipe the credit card or use the plastics to at least, minimize any type of contact with the vending machine, especially if you ever insert coins. Then this type of, activity could be very dangerous. So it is better for you to actually stay away from vending machine. But if you cannot resist this desire, then why don't you use a plastic instead of actually, swiping? Instead of actually pushing your bill into it, especially $1 bill into it. That's really a germ or virus inciting act. You should stop it. Put an end to it. At least you should stay away from any type of objects like that vending machine or sink or stall. But you cannot, avoid using it. Then you should find the middle ground. Yeah, it's really what has been said. Why don't you actually carry, paper seats? And the paper, seat covers, the so-called. Try not to exceed on the, toilet seat. Because most of American toilets definitely, provided this type of a paper seat, right? Disposable paper seats that could actually be used when you were actually trying to sit on toilet. Anyway, at the restrooms and bathrooms, they're going to be watched closely and monitored with excessive alertness on sanitary conditions because they're obliged to at least check up on the condition by closing the bathrooms and restrooms on an hourly basis, okay? It's really easy for me to actually, have all this, everyday products on my mind. Because, it's really like yesterday, and ever since I actually learned a vending machine as a little kid, I never forgot it, excuse me.